the Lolberts, that's our word, brought to you by Super Chats. And we'll get to those in just a bit. And I'm here with Nick Hazelton from the Anarcho-Yakitalist, formerly of the Anarcho-Yakitalist, formerly of Yakkin with Nick? I don't know.
I still have the intention of doing Yakkin with Nick, okay. But it's faded at this point right now. I guess I got an episode out in September. Yeah.
Okay. Currently pod faded, possibly returning, and I could have swore I turned off all of my alarms before I started this thing. Consummate professional here. That won't happen again, by the way. That was the last one. Just forgot that one last one. So anyways, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. You haven't been on the show since December of last year.
Yeah.
So time for a very long, you have a whole year to talk about what's been going on your farm, which I find fascinating.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. And man, I think we tried to do it, but I flaked a lot of times. There were a lot of times it didn't work out. But
I think I flaked one or two of those times, but there was a million times we tried to get this, and I know one of them was my fault. At least
yeah. I think most of them are definitely mine. But it's been a crazy year. It's been really fun, but pretty stressful. It's like I think that I've kindly kind of gotten I've learned, I don't want to say I've learned everything, right? But I've learned a lot about some of the systems behind farming, and I wasn't really paying attention to that as I first started this business. I was more just doing stuff as tasks and not really, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a way to explain that in a different way, but I'm finally kind of learning, like, oh, this is how these things in farming are connected between the grass and where you move animals, like in the way the grass grows and how that affects the meat. I'm kind of getting some more expertise. I don't think I'm an expert quite in like raising grass and meat eating, or I guess grass eating meat animals. I've learned a lot about that, and I've been trying to really figure out how to make money, and I'm starting to get there. I sold out of yak meat this year, which was cool, but I had a pretty low inventory, so I've made up for that for next year. But that was kind of like, it was like a lot of figuring out how do we do this, and it was a good year of sales and marketing. I'd say I've improved a lot there. A lot of people know who I am in the farming community around, and I'm talking to a lot of people, so it's been really fun, and a lot of things have changed. I've got people working with me now. I'm starting like a little hippie commune. we've got me and a couple buddies have some trailers that we have parked out in the backyard, and so we're trying to make a little bit of a farm business.
By a new cat, by the way. Speaking of farm updates, yeah. Hey guy, let's save it for later. We haven't introduced you yet. Go ahead, carry on.
I love it. This time I don't have animal sounds. Usually it's me with something going on in the background.
That's true.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's been a good year. It's been fun bringing people on. Like I'm farming like 55 acres, and that's a little bit too much for one person, I think. And I was figuring out how to do stuff, but on my own. But I was really inefficient because part of my, like, I do a lot of fixing my past mistakes. So like rebuilding fences or fixing electric fences, a lot of what I have to do. And with one person that can take, a project that takes 5 hours for one person can be condensed to 1 hour with 3 people, which is really cool. So I've got buddies working with me, and we're doing stuff. We're not like, we don't have a real business really off the ground yet, but we're picking mushrooms, like chanterelle mushrooms, and selling them and doing like manual labor, a little bit of like not really contracting, but like yard work and helping people around as much as we can. And other than that, we're just, living out in the woods and having fun, man.
Sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm really jealous that you're able to find lion's mane mushrooms. I have been trying to get my hands on lion's mane for the longest time. I've been looking into getting like home grow kits. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Unless you know, my friend. Let's just say that my friend used to grow mushrooms, illegal, of course, and I think he might have to get back into the game again. Just to make lion's mane, because I've heard that it tastes just like lobster if you cook it, if you saute it with butter, and I'm like settled. I need this in my life. But that would be completely legit. You know, he was already in a legit business. Let's just say that.
No, dude, yeah, but the lion's mane mushroom is good. I've never had lobster, so I don't actually know, but it's one of the better ones.
Okay.
I'd like to try and grow it on logs too. Like it's supposed to be pretty easy. You just need sawdust.
Yeah. They say that it's like something called PF Tech, which I know absolutely nothing about because wink wink. But I hear that you use like sawdust with it, and you can that it's possible. I don't know because I've never done it, but I hear it's possible. Yeah, but I'm definitely. Yeah, they don't. It's not like they sell it in the stores. There's an Asian market around here that sells like king oyster mushrooms and shiitake mushrooms and beach mushrooms, and they also do chicken of the woods, and those are all wonderful. But I want lobster, goddammit. That's what I really want at the end of the day. So yeah,
that's interesting.
Oh, you there? Allegedly, he's there. By the way, this can't be my fault this time because I am hardwired into my router this time. This has to be you.
None of them.
Oof. Gosh damn it! I'm not editing this out, by the way. Let's lower the bit rate a little bit and try this again. Yeah, you're there, but you're awfully quiet. Yeah,
you can hear me. I'm like right up on my microphone. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Okay. So, I should talk about my farm update. Yeah, this should be a little bit better. I lowered the bit rate because it was really high. Yeah, my farm update. So, a lot of you have probably seen, I don't really post on Facebook that much, if at all. And if I do, it's usually posts related around Facebook is trash. You should get off of it. It's destroying you. It's invading your privacy. Facebook's a horrible company. Get off. That's been the general theme of all of my Facebook posts recently. One was kind of taken out of context a little bit, and I want to apologize. Sorry, James Weeks. That's not what I meant. Because he posted something. He was like saying libertarianism is not about something. It's about this. And I was like, actually, no. Libertarianism is about getting off of Facebook. And I think a lot of people interpreted that as me saying like, James, you need to get off Facebook because I disagree with this. That's not what I was trying to say. That's been the general theme of my Facebook posts recently is Facebook sucks. Are you going to play with my Christmas lights? Why don't you just come in, dude? Because you're gonna come in. You're gonna come in. All right, I'm closing the door. So yeah, but I did post that my cat had passed away. My cat of 20 years, Kitty Whopolis. I've talked about her lots of times. I think I may have talked about her lots on this program, but I definitely talked about her on my Patreon only content. Oh, by the way, talk for a second.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I think you're just quiet on your end.
Dang. I can turn myself up. I'm at 115% of my output volume.
Keep talking. I'll edit this part.
Keep talking. I do remember you talking about Kitty Whopolis.
Yeah.
And she sounded like a sweet cat. I think I've heard her in the background.
Okay.
Of many shows.
Yeah, she passed away. She was not doing well. But right before her birthday, which was July 4th, Independence Day. That's when I found her behind a grocery store. She was really scared of the fireworks and stuff. So it was her brother. Rescued her. Had her for 20 years. Let's put it like this. Wow. Bill Clinton was president when she was born.
Wow. I mean, that's older than me.
Yeah, she's literally a 90s kid. So so her kind of health kind of started waning. And it started about then, like I remember coming home and she was kind of like really winking her eye really hard and kind of meowing in pain, like howling in pain. And I thought she was going to die that night. I didn't think that she was going to survive the weekend. So I was basically kind of like doing hospice care for her and, saying goodbye and everything. But she survived and she was doing pretty well. She lost a lot of weight. And then last week, is it last week now? Yeah, last week, she started doing the same thing again, but it was even worse. Her eye was completely full of blood. She could not see, her other eye didn't do that well from the last attack. But the other eye went completely. And so she was mostly blind. Anytime I was kind of putting my hand towards her, she would like flinch because she didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, she was not doing well. She was in a lot of pain. You can tell like she was walking, you could tell she was having a hard time walking. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was not doing well. And so basically I was like, okay, so I'm going to spend a full 24 hours with her, say my goodbyes with her. And then I took her down that, Saturday morning and had her put to sleep. And I was crying like a bitch. I called off of work because I was a fucking wreck. All right, you're going to come up here? All right. So, yep, it's been the last week kind of mourning. Come here. This is my farm update. There we go. Come here. Lay down. Nope, you don't want to lay down. Okay. This is all news to you. So anyways, yeah, but I was like, all right, I'm going to take this opportunity. Like after I kind of was done mourning, I still feel bad. It still hurts. That really cut deep.
Yeah, but it's sad when you lose an animal when you've had it for that long and you build the relationship with, that's, I've never had an animal for.
Nope. You're not going to hop up there.
Like 10 years.
Nope. We're good now. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know if, jeez, you got to be kidding me. This is not the time for. So basically, I turned my closet into a recording studio. My new kind of walk-in closet, and she already knows how to hop up on the table, and now she's trying to hop up on the shelf of the thing. And I'm like, oh no, that's going to be a huge mess because clothes are going to fall. That's not good. So yeah. So yeah, I was like, all right, so I need to start looking for a blue cat because I know those are kind of hard to come by. I've been really wanting a blue cat. I had a blue cat, not before Kitty Whopolis. I had her about the same time as Kitty Whopolis, maybe a couple years later, and that one got ran over by a car. That and another instance that happened with Kitty Whopolis, I was like, okay, no more outdoor cats. They're completely indoors 100% of the time. Basically, my cat thought it'd be a good idea to pick a fight with 5 raccoons, and she could hold her own, but 5 raccoons is
wow.
So I rescued her from that. Like, luckily I was outside smoking at the time. So I was like, yep, you're indoor now. Which, by the way, you should always have your cats indoors 100% of the time. But anyways.
We have a barn cat, and she kind of moves around, but she's mostly indoor, Yeah. We like to let her in. We've lost a lot of cats to coyotes and whatnot, and owls, They're pretty easy prey, and that's kind of,
But you have more of a work cat, though.
Yeah,
it's a different scenario, yeah. So, anyways, I was like, all right, I better get the ball rolling now if I'm going to try to find a blue cat because that's going to be a whole arduous process to find one, and I didn't realize how easy it was to get. Because I ended up contacting one, and I think they were like, let's not give this guy a cat. He's asking right before Halloween, and he seems really eager to get a cat, and I think I blew that one. So I was like, the next one, this is the other day, I got an email from Pet Finder saying, hey, there's another great cat in your area up for adoption. She's 8 months old. Got all the stuff ready, and I just the plan was to pick her up on Tuesday because she's sick. She's currently sick right now with some kind of cold, and she needs stuff for her eyes, mostly because kennel situations, there's always kind of like respiration kind of thing that always goes in kennels. So she's got that. So they were just like, no, she's fine now. All she needs is like this cream for her eye. Come pick it up tomorrow. And you can take your cat home today. And I was like, awesome. So I ran and got all the stuff for the cat. So she's here now. She's still getting situated, but she's like really trying to explore everything. And I'm like, I already had a scheduled podcast before this. Wish I would have known. I would have been like, I'm not going to schedule a podcast this week, but I've been really bad about scheduling podcasts. So that's kind of what my farm update too, because since we've been kind of out of the loop. So let's talk about the news of the day, because there's lots of stuff going on. Cool. Have you been hearing what's going on so far with YouTube and censorship? I'm sure you probably heard inklings of this here and there.
Yeah, I heard about Alex Jones, and that's kind of probably the last person that I knew of that the last serious scandal.
Okay. So yeah, that was a while ago. I'm turning you up on this end. So yeah, go ahead. Is there anything else that you knew about this, or that was it?
No, I mean, I know that they have been being more. I mean, from what I've heard from other people, I know some people are trying to like start up a software business that's trying to keep that from trying to find ways around these kind of takedowns. But other than that, I don't really understand exactly what they're doing, if they really are targeting certain people, or I just know that people are concerned about it.
Yeah. Okay, so we really need to go far back then. So this all sort of started with the Unite the Right rally, where Christopher Cantwell got his wonderful new nickname, which we're going to call him, which we've been calling him from then on, was the Crying Nazi. He finally got his 15 minutes. He actually got a few more minutes this recently about the Unite the Right too, but that's we're not going to get into that. But they've been kind of really cracking down on people who are way outside of the Overton window. Not just outside of the Overton window, just even on the border of the right side of the Overton window. You know what the Overton window is, right?
I don't. I was going to ask.
Wow. Okay. So we're real history. So the Overton window is basically, if you can imagine the political spectrum from on a left to a right continuum, right? And I know there's lots of things, like I'm not a big fan of the left-right spectrum. Okay. But just bear with me, because it draws a better analogy. But there is a window within that left and right paradigm, which is considered okay kind of opinions to have, right? Which extends left, quite a bit from the far right to the to kind of more moderate right. That's opinions that are outside of the Overton window. Anything left of that is within the Overton window, up to and including probably gulags. I think most people don't have a problem with communism, because communism in theory is about trying to help people, right?
Sure.
So they'll let it, but I don't even know if that's true anymore. And I'll get into some of that a little bit later. But yeah, that's kind of the idea of the Overton window is, there's this window that you can have that's acceptable speech. Anything outside of that window is not good. And people are trying to kind of move the Overton window back by various means. And kind of the alt-right shitposty things about like, well, we're just doing this to push the Overton window over that much. I don't buy it. But maybe that's one legitimate tactic some people are taking. I'm not buying it. But generally speaking, I'm sure some people are generally do think that and doing that to try to do it. But I think for the most part, most people are just shitty people. But whatever. So YouTube is trying to crack down the other way, and they're trying to go against people who are on YouTube who are saying things that are, for the most part, right of center. That's who they're usually going after, even though a couple examples the other side that they're actually going after too. And now it's starting to get really ugly now that they're what is this shooter? The Pittsburgh synagogue shooter, guy who posted on this website. I don't know. Are you familiar with Gab? Do I have to fill in the
Gab?
Not bury the lead on that one. Oh wow. So Gab is this alternative platform because all of these people are getting banned from Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, blah 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 blah. So basically this is supposed to be like the free speech Twitter. Unfortunately, what ended up happening was they didn't market it correctly. They just said, oh, we're just a free speech Twitter. We're for everybody. Instead of trying to market to a particular audience, like, hey, people on the conservative right who have been shadow banned on Twitter, come over here as well. And you won't be, and you probably would have had more kind of libertarian and conservatives and maybe anarchists come on there and say like, okay, this is a platform that we can kind of create our own little community on and not have to worry about being censored. But instead what ended up happening was everybody was like, oh, that's just for people who've been banned from Twitter. And of course all the people who've been banned from Twitter have different viewpoints, but it seems that the bulk of them are really genuinely shitty people. And so the Nazis kind of took it over, and then all the other people who were like maybe libertarian and conservatives of the mainstream maybe are like, oh, fuck this thing, and left. So basically Christopher Cantwell and Andrew Anglin are the principal users over there. So they got shut down after this because the shooter who shot up a synagogue, killing 11 people, 11 Jewish elderly Jewish people, and injuring a few more, was a regular poster on Gab, and even announced that he was going to do the shooting on Gab, and said, "Screw your optics, I'm going in," which had ended up becoming a meme, which we'll talk about too. But now Twitter is cracking down on everything. There's some alt-right, not even alt-right. Some of them aren't alt-right. But there's a lot of alt-right and conservative kind of streams on YouTube, which have been very lucrative for people. In fact, I've gotten into the game too, but not doing conservative or libertarian or any kind of politics stuff. We're actually talking about news, things that are going on in entertainment, comic books, movies, that sort of thing. That's kind of what we've been focusing on. So this is kind of a stray away from my Politico talk. So we're doing that too. But there is a stream that I watch, and I don't necessarily agree with everything that they say, but I do find it entertaining, called The Kill Stream, which is an alt-right kind of show. But again, they're more interested in what, like, YouTube drama. That's mostly what they talk about. They don't really talk about politics that much. They do delve into it. But I'm really kind of into it just to hear them talk crap on people like Mundane Matt and Sargon of Akkad, etc. But what is happening is they have this feature on YouTube called, I hope I'm doing a really good job about not bearing the lead here, because I think I've explained everything. So super chats are a way for people who are in the chat room of these live streams to have their comments read by the person who is hosting the stream. And these streams end up having 5, sometimes 6-digit audiences. I mean, they're very popular, and people make all kinds of money. So super chats, you pay like $2 up to however much you want. And I've seen people pay up to like $500 for a super chat to basically send off a message, and then the host would read that. And a lot of times on things like Killstream, because it's an edgy kind of troll drama show, they kind of attract trolls and stuff who like to make the host say terrible, awful things. Same thing with shows like JF and Andrew Worski and a bunch of other ones. But specifically, the Killstream got hit not too long ago because of the Pittsburgh shooter. But they ended up, I think last month, they did something called the Heel Stream, which they did all the super chat money didn't go to them. It went to a charity. Where YouTube, like if you can do like a super chat for charity, and what they do is they don't take, YouTube takes about 30% of super chat money, but they don't take any, and they give all of your super chat earnings for that particular stream to a charity of your choice, so long as they're 501c3 or whatever they are. Out of breath here. How much and they did one for St. Jude's, which is like a hospital for kids who are dying of terminally ill diseases, and give them free treatment. And it's a wonderful, beautiful charity. And they ended up raising $26,000 for St. Jude's Hospital. And while they were doing it, they were getting into some pretty edgy territory, including singing a parody of the song Moon Man by Soundgarden. It was by a group called Goys and Rosenbergs, and the song was called Moon Man, in reference to the McDonald's Moon character, Mac Tonight, which has now been deemed a... I'm making sure I'm not bearing any leads, which has now been adopted as a white supremacist idol or whatever, or a symbol. And the Wall Street Journal came out with an article talking about this thing, that the kill stream and all the terrible things that things in the super chats are saying, and he's having to read out loud, and also talking about the Hill stream. YouTube has then, after this article came out by the Wall Street Journal, refunded every single cent that went to St. Jude's to the people who did the super chats took down the kill stream, all of the kill stream channels that they've had, on all their backup channels as well, and demonetized the current remaining ones. But they did not refund a single super chat that was not sent to St. Jude. They kept their cut of the money. So that really kind of shows you where their priorities are. Like, fuck dead children. Screw your optics. We're going in, and we're gonna take out these. Take out this.
At least donate.
Oh,
they're good.
Oh, you're cutting out, and I know it's not my fault. Oh, not again. We've been having some serious internet connection issues.
That's weird. I have everything off on my end.
It's probably me again. Here, let's just do this. And I'm not going to edit this part out. Fuck it. I'm not going to edit anything out because I want everybody to know that Discord is taking a giant shit, and so is Cox Communications. I want everybody to @Cox Communications. Tell them how much of a shit cock they are. That's also probably it, too, because I think I did that's what it is. That's what it is. Save changes. So I think the last show I did was with Jeremy, and we ended up going on. He was on the East Coast for that show, and we had the server set up to East Coast, so we were bouncing all the way over to East and then coming back all the way to the West because we're both West Coasters. Well, sort of.
Oh, damn.
All right, so that should be good. Go ahead, say what you were saying.
What? Like, why? It's like if YouTube's gonna take all that money back, they should at least just they should just let them keep it, or if they should donate that back. If those people are such terrible people, right? Mm-hmm. Be better than them, not take away the money that they gave to charity.
Yeah, and let them keep everything else. By the way, they did let them keep everything else. Wow.
So all the stuff donated to charity.
Yeah. So, fuck the dead children. This is where punch Nazis ideology is going now. It's like to the point where it's like, well, we need to punch Nazis so hard that dying sick cancer kids are going to die too. So the one of the Twitter hashtags that's been trending today is Wall Street Journal kills kids. Hashtag WSJ kills kids. So that was a thing that was happening today. And I've been getting hit by this as well. My Lolberts, so I had two videos that were, I don't know if you have ever seen this on YouTube. I've only seen it happen to a few people. One of which was a quote unquote documentary about the Jewish question. And spoiler, it ends with, the final solution is the solution to the Jewish question. And a trailer for a documentary that never came out about Christopher Cantwell that was supposed to show that he was, the savior of the West. So, I mean, just not good stuff that I've seen this. But basically what it does is it forbids you from embedding it, so you can't upload it to another site. Comments are disabled, and you get a warning when you show up to the thing saying, hey, just so you know that this has been restricted due to hate speech, but you can watch it anyway. But just know that you have to be signed in, you have to be 18 years old, you can't embed it anywhere, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No commenting, no liking, no none of that. All the features have been disabled. The only thing you can do is watch it on the site. So one of those videos had happened to me, and it was two videos. One of which was about Christopher Cantwell, and it was a negative piece where basically I ended up calling him a right social justice warrior. And this was before I even heard about things like the horseshoe theory or anything like that. I just started noticing that a lot of the things that the MRAs were doing, especially Cantwell, he was doing the exact same things that he criticized, the left of doing. And I was like, and I was calling him out on that, and I was saying that this is all like this and the MRAs and a Voice for Men are terrible. That got shut down. That well, not shut down, but it got limited just like that for hate speech. Another one that I did on my other YouTube channel, the Lolberts, which has been discontinued. I'm basically just uploading all my videos to my other main YouTube channel. And it was the second episode of the Lolberts, the one I did with Matt, the first one I did with Matt, where we talked about this new rising phenomenon, because this was like in 2015, this new rising phenomenon called the alt-right, and we're kind of baffled why the brown shirts are coming back, and we were saying very negative things about the alt-right, and we were also saying very negative things about the Nazis and neo-Nazis and everything. So apparently bashing Nazis now is also considered hate speech by YouTube. And one of my friends who is very far left-winger, I think he calls himself a libertarian socialist, Dick Coughlin, did a very long video that he took a lot of time and effort researching and editing and everything, talking about the protocols of the Elders of Zion and the history behind it and how it's a hoax and why it's a hoax and proof that it's a hoax, basically debunking that hoax document. That got taken down immediately as well. So I mean, like, YouTube is just getting really crazy now, where they're not even allowing criticism of Nazis. They're so anti-Nazis now. All right, come on in, but you can't come on the table. Yeah, you're not allowed on the table. Dude. I'm sorry?
Has a strategy. No, the strategy. It's interesting. Like this, it's weird. It's that they cannot be heard, right?
Yeah.
So like, don't even have their criticism. Like, don't mention them at all.
Yeah, don't.
It's almost like, it's kind of like the ostracism move, right? Like the libertarian strategy of, well, kick them out of society. And it's an interesting thing to do as like a private corporation. If you have, if your board members or whoever the structure runs, right, in your company, if you have visions of like, this is how the world should be, that's kind of like the way to do it, right, is to just totally limit it and not even show that this thing exists. Create your big system of YouTube, which mostly people are connected to, right? You can control a lot of what's there, but that's weird that they would take down stuff that's anti, that seems like it's a real, like, just, I wonder if it's a conscious strategy or just something that
it's
kind of
algorithm. But it said that it was flagged by the community. So I'm thinking that there's like the Hero program. Someone probably watched my video or saw my video. It said like, I can't remember the name of the title. I could look it up. It's been a while since I did that one, so you can understand why I would forget the title of my own podcast from 3 years ago. It's crazy to think that we've been doing this for 3 years.
Gosh.
But it was something along the line of, jeez, you are a mess. No. You're going to knock over stuff again. You're going to create bad audio. How dare you? Come here. All right, fine. I'll give you attention. All right. So, let's see. I'm juggling cat and email. This is fun. So here we go. So you have two videos that were restricted. One is called the Christopher Campbell one. Here, why don't you just go? You can just meow out the door. That's a whole lot better than what you're doing in here. Jeez. New cat. Mo cats, mo problem. By the way, donate to Patreon to delete this cat. That's an inside joke from my other podcast. So anyways, so yeah, that's called Brown Shirts Are Fashion Victims. Fashion Victims. I guess that's the joke. And it says that we believe in the principles of free speech, even when that speech is unpopular and potentially offensive to some viewers. However, YouTube does not allow hate speech or content that promotes or incites violence. I want to know, because I think we even said in the show that punching Nazis is not a good idea either. So I mean, I don't know how they're walking away from what we were saying as hate speech.
Wow.
Or inciting violence. Here we go. In some cases, flagged videos that do not clearly breach community guidelines, but whose content is potentially controversial or offensive. How is saying that Nazis suck offensive? I don't get it. This is so fucking weird. This is not a strike on your channel. We still want to hear from you if you believe this is a mistake. Yeah. Don't worry. I will be filling that out. By the way, they got rid of that one, but they didn't get rid of the one that's on my main channel, because I had another one on there as well, because that was the time that I was uploading to my channel and the Lolberts channel. So that one's fine. This one's not. The only thing I can gather at this point, at least in terms of what's going on with my channel and Dick's channel, is maybe YouTube is a bunch of fascist Nazis, I guess, because they don't want people hearing criticism of fascism and Nazism. That's the only thing I can derive from that. You know, they both love it and hate it. They just don't want anyone talking about it. I don't know. I have no idea. By the way, we have some super chats. I don't know how we have super chats since this is not on YouTube and we're not live streaming, but Yori Core says 4Fiend88 pass the bikes. I don't know what that means, but it sounds terrible. Larry Page says, I can't stand all these grabblers. Screw optics. I'm going in. Sujin Wojcicki says, Brimbler didn't do nothing. I don't know what any of these means. They sound terrible. Andy Rubin says, grab them by the prissy. I think they're trying to avoid the YouTube super chat auto, because you're not allowed to say certain words on the super chats now because of all this stuff. Mark Zuckerberg says, knee gears, knee gears, knee gears. Oh, that's terrible. Jack Dorsey says, kids need that cancer. I'm sure they're probably illegals anyway. # down the caravan. Wow. Jack, come on, man. I thought you were, come on. Whatever. St. Jude's Hospital says, we have a new policy at the hospital that involves star patches, cattle cars, and trains, but it depends on the child. That's awful. Sundar Pichai, I think, isn't he the CEO of Google? Anyways, he says, I'm closing my eyes and imagining the grabblers turning into dust and blowing in the wind, hoping the same happens to mundane Matt. Tim Cook says, how do you get a grabbler twink's number? Roll up their sleeve? Oh God! Oh, this is terrible. I can't understand why a bunch of like Wall Street Journal journalists and CEOs of tech giants are saying these terrible things. St. Jude's Hospital.
Wow.
Oh my God! Oh, I get it. St. Jude's Hospital.
God.
This is why I don't do super chats on this show.
Yeah, God, those are terrible.
But you get the idea of what the super chats have been like on some of these channels. Of course, they're on troll channels and stuff, but I figure I might as well Ben Garrison them, since they've been Ben Garrisoning me. I'm gonna Ben Garrison them every chance I get now. So I'm gonna do real. These were real super chats that I got from these CEOs and stuff, because they're terrible people. Obviously, I mean, they want sick kids to die. And they're throwing them on cattle cars. But it depends on the child, right?
Sick people.
Yeah, they're very sick people. So what do you make of all this? I want to hear your take. Because I mean, go ahead.
Well, it's interesting because it's like it's that thing where it's a private corporation that has a lot of power in the sense of cultural influence, and like you kind of like you'd like to see freedom of speech or these platforms become able, but like at first the internet was kind of that, like these people could all go out and argue, and now it's seeming like it's segregated, right? People get into their cliques and their tribes and stay somewhat in that for confirmation bias, but they do still argue. And now these bigger companies, some of them are deciding to take away that option of like, well, you can't argue with this person. They're banned from Twitter. You can't argue. You can't, reply to this person's, to these ideas. You can't make YouTube videos about this person. So now they're kind of being removed from that part of the culture, which, I don't really care so much in that I'm gonna do something about it. But it's interesting to see that what will that do? What will that make people? Does it actually, like, to me, I think it does both of, like, it dissuades people from looking at these ideas because it's like, well, they're not legitimate. YouTube doesn't even let people talk about the alt-right. So they don't really, like, some people might have that they don't really exist, so they don't really think about them, or they are delegitimized because of that, because of their deplatforming. But some people see that as, well, gosh, that means that they're absolutely right because they're anti-establishment. And if they're being silenced without a logical reason, that means that there is no logical reason why the alt-right would be removed from, or somebody with those opinions would be removed from a platform like that. But so there those consequences and the ideas is what kind of interests me, is like, how does it affect politics? And I haven't really been able to see anything come out of it yet. I think we'll just see as it goes. But it's interesting to see that they'll go off to a different social media, and I hate Facebook too, so I'm like kind of waiting to see. I don't like a lot of these social media stuff, and I'm kind of like, I'm not really looking at alternatives. But I'd like to see more come up. Like I'd like to see, like, well, if Facebook sucks, is there a good way to do social media? I haven't seen it yet. I kind of like Instagram, but even that just kind of sucks my time, so I rarely use it these days. So I wonder, like, well, what will that do? Will it kind of take the fringes of those fringe opinions? Because it doesn't seem like anything else is, well, like it. They're not removing communist propaganda, right? People who want to.
I don't know. I mean, Dick Hoffman is by all intents, he's not a Marxist. He calls himself a libertarian socialist. So he's not. He's definitely, like, I guess anarcho-communist. I guess. Maybe anarcho-syndicalist somewhere in there. But I mean, he has had a couple of channels taken down recently because of political talk that he has done.
Wow. So maybe they are targeting the fringe. I don't know. Is it? They're not taking down anything from RT or the Young Turks, probably, right? I don't know. Maybe they are. I have no idea.
Well, the Young Turks, they're. I know they say, like, oh, we're like Bernie Sanders, but that's Bernie Sanders is still establishment. At the end of the day, he's still on the Beltway. They like things like Obamacare, so they're not really rocking the boat. People like, I think what they're really interested in is things that are in the 3x5 card of allowable opinion, and what Bernie Sanders says is on that card. There's nothing he's saying that's not on that card.
Sure.
So if your choices are Bernie Sanders or Mitt Romney, and anywhere in between, anything else, not allowed.
Yeah, so I wonder, like, is it a thing of going after the fringe, or is it a strategy from YouTube? Are they trying to keep people who cause trouble off of their platform so they don't have to have the liability of being involved? Like every time somebody talks about a live stream of these neo-Nazis, right, then it's connected to YouTube. Because that's where they're doing it. Is that what they're trying to do?
I would not go so far to say as a kill stream of neo-Nazis. There's I know Ralph, Ethan Ralph, the guy who is the host of the main host. He's more of like a populist. They would probably classify him as alt-right. He has alt-right people who come on his show for sure. But yeah, I don't hear him ever talking about an ethno state. I mean, he'll listen to Jared Taylor and think he's interesting. I can't tell. So who knows anymore, because everybody's dog whistling and hiding behind things and not trying to make themselves explicitly what they are anymore. So it's hard to tell anymore, which is why I really don't like the idea of punching Nazis, because who knows if they actually are a Nazi, because everybody's dog whistling and shit. And dog whistling the dog whistles are being used by people who don't understand that they're dog whistles. Like, everybody's like, oh, like I would like this person, but they use the OK sign. It's like, yeah, but the OK sign was also used by people like Sargon, who's a fucking moron. Because like these symbols end up getting either starting from harmless places and being used to trigger the libs, own the libs, Gamergate 2, hashtag gangweed, whatever. And then they get adopted by the alt-right, or the alt-right makes them, and then like the skeptic community takes them and tries to ruin them. See, I'll come play with you in a bit. By the way, hashtag donate more, delete cat. Where was I going with that? Yeah, so and then they get taken by those and they get ruined. Like Pepe. That's what happened with Pepe in Kekistan. It started out as a kind of alt-right, like, ha ha ha, let's have a joke, and then the skeptics grabbed it and made it a cringe thing. So it's like, I don't know, I can't look at someone who has a Pepe thing. I mean, one of the guys that I was talking to during this whole, I don't know if you heard the last couple of episodes where we were talking about a group of guys who thought it was a good idea to solicit child pornography to own the libs. One of the guys who was a critic of that group as well was an anarcho-communist who has a Pepe avatar. So like, you can't really just use that and say like, oh, he's using that, he must be alt-right. You know, I've been very critical of the alt-right, and there was a time where I was using a Pepe that looked like Max Stirner. So who knows? Who knows anymore?
It's so confusing. Like, I don't. That's one of the things I'm like concerned about is like blanketing these terms onto people, and like within a term like libertarian or communist, there are so many different people with different opinions, and so like that's what's kind of sad about it, is that if you're limiting that just based on a label, you're not getting to understand the idea, and that you're suppressing an idea, and that can cause a lot of friction. It causes a lot of pressure in people. Eventually something happens, is what people get upset, I guess.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, just because you suppress an idea doesn't mean it's going to be gone forever.
Yeah. In fact, I would argue that if you try to suppress an idea, it kind of, just the fact that it's underground and you're not supposed to read it makes it kind of fucking cool. Like when every time they try to ban books, what's the first thing everybody wants to do? Is like, well, what's in that fucking book that's so terrible? Which is why I'm perfectly okay with people disseminating copies of things like the Turner Diaries and Mein Kampf, because I think those things need to be read by people so they can look at them and say like, okay, this is what this is. Now I know how to recognize it.
Yeah. Totally.
And a lot of Jewish organizations will publish copies of Mein Kampf because they think it's important for people to read it so they can know it when they see it. And by the way, absolutely. I should also recommend anybody who's like on the alt-right, you should read the Turner Diaries. One of the first things that happens in the book once these people started turning on it, because the story is about like a group of people who started a militia to overthrow the government and turning into white nationalist Nazi kind of group. One of the first groups of people that they kill are libertarians.
Wow.
Yeah. The libertarian alt-right, you guys are useful idiots. You don't even realize it. Like this is where this is going. Like Richard Spencer does not have very pleasant things to say about libertarians.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that I don't know, but it does seem that a lot of that, the alt-right, ideas did, I don't know the history of it, but I remember being involved in.
I'll spoil it for you. Yeah, the alt-right's pretty much kind of at least the movement that's called that. Yeah. I mean, they're still ethno-nationalists. Sure. They're still around. They've all kind of avoided that kind of term after Unite the Right and Cantwell. But yeah, go ahead.
But like it did seem like a lot of that did come from, or at least a lot of the energy came from people who called themselves libertarians at one time, like Cantwell and many other people. But I only know that because that's the circles that I was able to see. But I wonder, like, it seems to me at least that we're that in the principle we are more opposed to those ideas in the sense of control, right? Because we're more interested in the basics of power and politics rather than the outcome of who's being harmed. It's like no, nobody being harmed, So though, I mean, like, not that the group called libertarians has any political power, but they would be an opponent to those ideas, I would say.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. Get rid of us. But that's yeah.
Well, we're useful. We can be useful idiots. We can go around and say, "Oh yeah, well, we got to be pragmatic and build the wall and kick out people who are, birthright citizen." I guess now the debate is the birthright citizenship. And by the way, there's a good chance that this whole birthright citizenship thing might get overturned, and we might be. It's not like I'm doing it, right? But the birthright citizenship, there's a good chance this is going to go away. Like Trump's going to write this executive order. It's going to end up going to the Supreme Court. Trump has stacked the Supreme Court. There's a good chance that they may look at this and say, no, the birthright citizenship should not be viewed through this particular lens. If anybody who comes here is immediately, and has a kid is immediately entitled to all these social benefits and rights, there's got to be some structure here, and there we go. But the 14th Amendment was not about like, oh, if you come here and have a kid, there you go. That's not what it was about. Originally, it was about slavery, ensuring that slaves were actually had citizenship. That's what the intent of it was. Now we have all these kind of originalists on the Supreme Court now, for better or for worse. I mean, there's the good stuff to say about originalism.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But anyways, yeah. So like they're just they'll use them when they're necessary, but then once they actually start talking about eliminating a state, they actually have power, then they could be peacefully sunsetted, so to speak, physically removed. Whatever I guess the new one is peacefully sunset. Yeah.
Let's go on with it. It's been
Oof. Try that again.
Interesting watching the kind of cultural and I've grown up. Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you. I'm gonna let him rest for a bit.
My voice is
How about this?
On my end.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's my end. I swear to God, like I do a live stream with my co-host Larry, and we use Discord. We use another server. We have no problem with Discord servers. Every single time, I'm always worried, like, please, internet, don't fuck up. And we do this almost about the same time, recording about the same time, give or take, getting out a couple hours. And it works fine. We never had a single hiccup. Everything works great. I get into my recording studio and everything fucks up. I bought a 25-foot long LAN cable to run directly to my router, and guess what? Fucking shit's fucking up. I don't know what it is. It's probably the Lolberts server. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's old. But the other servers I'm on, no problem. Anyways, try this again. Now that I've filibustered for a bit.
All right.
No, there it goes again. Fuck you. Fuck you. When you chuckle, I can hear it fine.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just have you on as a chuckler.
Damn it. Huh.
Uno mas.
I wonder if it's on my end. It says my voice is connected, but it is low. But I don't.
Yeah,
I know
I'm
that
solid.
There aren't anybody up.
Yeah.
Huh. I've got now it's yellow, but connection info, Discord connection.
Well, try it again. You're doing well so far.
Okay. Well, it's interesting seeing the cultural and ideological battles between these ideas. And I've been trying to pay attention to it, as history is being made, And it's weird to see these ideas go back and forth. And I haven't studied a whole lot of history with this. But I'm curious to see where does it go? Is this just kind of fringe politics happening, or does happen? Will the fringe kind of come into more of the mainstream, and will things actually change in any way relating to like these ideas being discussed and then being deplatformed and then having the backlash there? I'm curious to see where do people go? Because the internet is a very connecting system. It brings a lot of people together and ideas. I think we probably have more diverse ideas than ever, but it seems like more and more people are aware of them and on one side or the other. I'm curious to see, does it splinter off from here if these larger platforms like YouTube keep just not entertaining the ideas at all? Do they go back into the crevices of the internet, or do they stay here in the limelight? Like, because the media likes to use it, the mainstream media, and like, it's, at least to me, it seems like they will talk about this. Like the Wall Street Journal will mention these people. Is this like a real phenomenon that matters, or will it just kind of fade in the night, is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's been going on for a while, like it seems like people genuinely believe on either side of like social justice warrior and alt-right. But like you said, like the movement's kind of dying for the alt-right, and it doesn't seem like there's much coming out of the far progressive left. But I say this stuff, but I don't even I don't really pay attention, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think I'm just generally thinking that the best solution, if we're going to have things like social media, if we're going to have things where people are connected to each other, I think the best way of doing that is just going back to the way it was, where you go to a website, it has a forum. Maybe you can include some more features that are more prominent on things like social media, like Facebook, like pictures and video and that sort of thing, and just allow communities to come together that way. Just bring back the old BBSs with a few more features. I think that's the only way of going. The idea that we all need to go on one particular platform, or one particular platform in a genre. So like, I mean, Twitter and Facebook are completely different things. That's why I really get upset when people go like, well, Facebook is a monopoly because you can always go on Twitter. And it's like, no, those are very different things, and they have a very different group of people on there. Like the audience that I'm going to go, if I'm going to go talk on things on Facebook, is very different from the audience that I would reach with Twitter. And the content on there is completely different. And, like, I know that, my sister's going to be on Facebook and she's going to post pictures of things on there, but she's not going to be on Twitter. And if she's on Twitter, she's going to have a very different thing that she's going to be on there. Whereas Facebook, she may be like, oh, here's what my kids are doing today, blah, blah, blah. Where on Twitter, she'll probably maybe talking more about politics or movies and that sort of thing. So they're very different. They're very geared to very different things. And sure, there's things like MeWe, which is supposed to be a direct competition to Facebook, but Mom is not on MeWe. She's on Facebook. She doesn't understand all this fancy who diddly on something else. Mm-hmm. I don't care about all that. I'm on Facebook because all my friends are on Facebook, Jim. But I think it's going to come down to, like, there's going to be something like Facebook where, old ladies can post pictures of their family, and, friends and family can come and talk about that, but they're not going to talk about politics. Then they're going to have MeWe for all the libertarians and ANCAPs, and Steam it. That's going to be the Reddit for libertarians. And there's going to be like Gab for the Nazis. And then there's going to be, there's got to be like, I'm sorry, the idea that everybody needs to be on one particular platform per genre, and we all have to try to get along. It's not gonna work out. And especially, you're never going to have anything mainstream ever going to have anything mainstream where your principal users are people like Christopher Cantwell and Andrew England. I don't want to go onto a website where every day I'm trying to wade through content fit for the daily stormer. And that's me who like, I think it's terrible, but I can put up with it if I know that there's going to be good things on there. I can wade through it. Most people are not like me, and I'm not going to do it. Like, I don't want to do it. I'd much rather go onto a site where, a bunch of ANCAPs are napping their ear off and I'm trolling them for the most part, but still have general agreements with them overall. Like, I agree with them in conclusion, but maybe not the methodology. That's going to be like the platforms that I want to be on. Totally. And then peek on to what the lefty Twitter and the lefty groups are doing, and see what they're doing, and then that gives me an idea to make some content on the libertarian YouTube. That's what needs to happen. centralization of everything is a bad idea. Even if it's free market, quote unquote free market, and the tech giants are evil, awful people, and you should not try to distance yourself as much as possible.
I agree. That makes a lot of sense to me. Like YouTube is awesome because it is a central place because you can find a lot of things. But man, thing to go to cater your too upset about like, well, I don't watch these videos that they're deplatforming, so I don't really notice it. Sometimes some platform
there he goes again.
Community guidelines, and that's kind of frustrating. And it's not something that affects my with those people, those channels. I have to deal with it because sometimes it's just kind of the community, like whatever it is, whatever they call it, community guidelines. Like somebody will report them, and then bam, their videos demonetized. And like, what do you do about that? If you're not really doing it full time, and you're just like kind of posting content that you're like, well, it has nothing to do with politics or hate speech or whatever it is. They just happen to say something a little bit
edgy
that somebody didn't like.
Yeah, I think that's what it needs to be. I think everybody needs to just have a circle jerk. I think that's the only way around it. I don't see any other way. And it also just can't be for social media. It also has to be for things like payment processing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Because PayPal has been shutting down people left and right too. They shut down Patreon, which was Cody Wilson's project. I don't think Cody Wilson's awesome, but
yes.
And I don't think he would agree with a lot of the alt-right people for sure. But he saw that as a problem, and rightly so, because now they're coming after not just people who are in the Overton window, but they're also going in people who just barely outside of it, like libertarians. But now they're also an anarchist. But they're after even going after communists who you think they are in agreement with. Take, for example, Richard the Dick Coughlin. So, I mean, they're going after anybody. They're going after everybody now. Even people who are making content saying, like, Nazis are terrible. Well, that's hate speech now. Well, what can I talk about? Maybe we should just decentralize everything. But then again, like, my options aren't that good. Like, MeWe, there's not much going on there that I find interesting. There's people on there. I'm not saying that everybody on there is terrible, by the way. There's lots of cool people on there. But you have that. Then you have DTube, which is putting everything on a blockchain. Terrible fucking idea for video. Let me just say that again. Terrible idea for video is putting shit on a fucking blockchain. Just because it's on a blockchain doesn't make it good. Please stop. I think they actually are distancing themselves from the blockchain idea. So that if that's happening, that's a good thing. I think that's where Killstream is at now, because they've been kind of taken off YouTube, but they said 6,000%. We're going back on there.
Wow.
What else? Then you have, I think the most viable thing right now, but you can't do it for live streaming because the way it's working how it works is BitChute, which is using peer-to-peer technologies. So when you go and watch a video there, you're basically the video player itself is actually a BitTorrent, and you're actually like sharing it with other people as well. So the more people that are watching that video, the more it gets disseminated. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. That's probably the best idea I've heard so far. But yeah, the other options, they're not working out too well. And Gab is constantly under attack. Like the Microsoft has been going after them for using their code. Their web domains keeps getting shutting them down. And the guy that runs Gab is not a Nazi, but his platform has been overrun by Nazis. There's good people on there too, but if your principal users is Cantwell in England, that's it. That's going to be your core demographic. There's nothing you can do about it unless you want to ban them, which they have been shadow banning them. But again, if that's supposed to be the free speech thing, that's a problem too. I don't know. It's all terrible.
Gosh.
Yeah, we need. Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, I wish I knew more about it. Like I could, like I know some people that are interested in this, and I don't know very much about what they're doing. So all I can say is like, wow, I hope some of it works out. I don't want to give away people's business ideas, but I've been talking to some people. It's becoming more of an issue. People are looking for that because of like deplatforming, just because of the whole nature of these companies trying to really capture your attention and be like dangerous in the sense that you could waste a lot of time. It could.
Well,
be,
social media is a waste of
suck,
time, though. Let's just face it.
Totally. I don't get. I mean, it's cool to like know what people are doing.
Mm-hmm.
I like knowing people from around the world that I don't get to see very often and see what they're doing. But yeah, man, I could be doing a lot cooler stuff than scrolling through Instagram. I could be making. I've saved a lot of time in the last like 3 weeks that I deleted the app off my phone. It's insane. Like you don't.
What app did you delete?
I deleted Instagram.
Oh, okay.
So
like, I'm like trying to instant message you on Instagram. Oof. Yeah.
You were lucky. I went on today just to chuck my messages in case.
Because I figured that was like, I think you told me that was like a good place to get to you, and I don't have Facebook on my phone, and I don't have Facebook Messenger on my phone, so I was like, I think he has Instagram. I'll just text him on that. I don't have your signal. Yeah. We should definitely get that going.
Yeah.
And maybe we should start using Signal. I think you can use Signal on your desktop for voice.
Okay.
We should start using that. That's probably a good idea, but we kind of move away.
Yeah,
from
I'm looking for an alternative to Messenger. I unfortunately I still have that on my phone just because people message me there, and I don't know, man. I don't know what to do because it's very useful because everybody's there, but it sucks.
Yeah.
And it's like Skype too. It's the same thing where it's like everybody has Skype, not everybody has Zoom or Discord or Signal to do a show, but Skype sucks. And apparently Discord's not so great either.
Well, Discord used to be really good. I mean, we were doing it great for a while. And I still use it for my other shows, and it seems to be working. But I think it's something with this room because it's not just you. It's also Matt. It's also Jeremy. I think we actually did a show pretty well, which was surprising because usually he has a connection problem because he's always ciphering out internet off someone else. But he was at a house where we did it. So let's start wrapping this thing up. I want to do two things. I want to talk about Snus, and I want to kind of go over some of the Amazon buys. So which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about the Amazon buys first.
Okay, let's go through some of the Amazon, because we haven't done this in a while, and my Amazon income has kind of dropped considerably. And so we're going to talk about stuff that happened in the last 90 days, and I know that we haven't done it for at least 4 or 5 months, or 6 months, maybe about 7 months. We haven't done one of these things, and I don't want to go through all of the things. Because there's been a lot. So I'm just going to talk about some of the cool stuff that we bought. And apparently I can only go through 90 days. So I'm going to do, fuck it. I'll set it back after this. I don't want to talk about things because someone bought chews for their dogs. Okay, cool. So someone did buy a 10 pack of 50 gigabyte double layer Blu-ray disc, which by the way, now that I'm done with my 365 days of doing content every day on that, I want to start compiling all of the stuff, get it ready to go. So once we hit our 100th episode, I can put everything on a what do they call it? What are those things called? M-discs, which you're actually burning onto stone, and then pass those out to some of the Patreon. Yeah, so they're good for 1,000 years allegedly.
That's badass.
Yeah, so they can have all the Lolberts content from 100, from -1, because we did a beta episode with Seamus to test the waters to make sure everything was working good, and then we did a full episode after that. So we have that. We can release that one, and then 100 episodes of the Lolberts, plus the not the Lolberts episode, and a few other stuff. And then all of the Patreon content that I created, Patreon only content, put it on a Blu-ray. Also, the full res images and the Photoshop documents versions of all the Anarcho-Gadsden flags. We could do all that too.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Yeah, I'll put a whole bunch of cool stuff on there. Someone bought Dead Cells on Nintendo Switch. I don't know what that is. What is this? This looks like okay. I've seen this game. I've seen stuff of this game. This actually looks kind of neat. It almost looks like a 8-bit, but the backgrounds and everything are really cool looking. So it looks like a platformer. Cool. Meditation's a new translation. I guess this is a book by Marcus Aurelius, and I don't know what this is. Oh, it's a philosopher of Rome, I think. I just glanced at the title. Remember last time I did that, I was like, I have no idea what this crazy occult technology of power book is. It looks like a bunch of crazy wackadoo. And then I read it and I was like, holy shit, this is actually amazing. That's a really good book, by the way. Ride the Tiger, a survival manual for the aristocrats of the soul. Julius Evola's final major work, which examines the prototype of the human being who can give absolute meaning to his or her life in a world of disillusion. Interesting. Anarcho-fascism, Nature Reborn. Is this a thing? Is this really a thing now? Anarcho-fascism? Jesus Christ. Well, someone bought it on paperback.
Oh my goodness.
We're going through some of it. A Resident Evil Origins Collection on PlayStation 4. I guess this is all of them. Origins collections about the so yeah, I think it's a collection of all the old stuff and all the older games. Old school Sega Genesis 1 standard AV cable, so someone's getting their old Sega Genesis stuff back together. A few other stuff for that as well. Some coin alkaline batteries. All right, so let's step back a little bit. Let's go back to April, I think, and then I think August. So July 31. Let's see if that's 90 days. Nope. I think this will be it. If I can get nope. Oh, Jesus. We'll get this. Maybe May 3rd. We'll try that one. Yeah. Okay, we got May 3rd. So May 3rd to August 30th, I think. Gloves, some 501 jeans, revise handbook of basic instructions for small earth dam and weir construction. So you can build masonry weirs and small earth dams on their own farm. Is that you? Did you buy that for your farm?
I don't think so.
All right. So Raspberry Pi 3 Model B motherboard. Oh, so this isn't even the new one. So this because this came. I think someone bought this before the new one came out. Ooh, that's a bummer. Amazon's basic USB C to it's a converter for USB-C, which by the way is awesome. USB-C is the way. I got a couple things that are USB-C now. I got the 8-bit Do controller that looks like a Nintendo Super Nintendo controller, but it has like the two analog sticks, and that uses a USB-C to charge, which is awesome. And then of course I got a Nintendo Switch. Oh, someone actually bought one of those. Oh, sweet! Someone actually bought it in. Oh wait, no, this is the one that looks like an NES controller, but it has 4. Oh no, it's got 2 buttons. So someone's probably getting a thing for the Raspberry Pi, because they're buying stuff for Raspberry Pi as well. HD Link cable for Dreamcast. So someone's setting up their someone's doing a lot of retro buying stuff on my stuff, so that's kind of fucking awesome. And for an original Xbox system. Wow. That was I loved my Xbox. Because you can actually play Conker's Bad Fur Day on that thing, which is by far my favorite game of all time. Fight Me IRL. It's the best game. Fight Me IRL. So let's talk about Snus. By the way, if you want us to read it, and I'm going to try to be a little bit better about doing this more regularly. If you want to buy something cool on it, I'll read it if it's cool. If you're going to buy things like overhead lights and rubber gloves, which I did see some of that stuff, I'm not. I'll read it. I'll read it. Fuck it. But we're going back through a lot of time, so I just want to let's talk about Snus. I posted something on Instagram saying like, oh yeah, I'm really enjoying this snooze thing. I think, this is why you haven't heard me vaping in recent episodes. I've been on snooze lately, and I posted that I got this new flavor, which is the General Snooze Original, and it's kind of interesting because it's black and gold. It kind of looks like an ANCAP flag if you turn it on its side a little bit. And you said like, oh yeah, if you tried the Zen thing. So you've been into snooze lately, right?
Not really snooze. I've been liking nicotine, man. I chewed like, I don't know, about 2 years ago probably. Okay. When I turned 18, I was able to buy it myself, and so I did a little bit of Copenhagen, but I didn't like it. It messed with my gums. It messed with my gums, and I have a receding gum line.
When are you gonna get the Rebel Flag baseball hat and start doing some dip reviews on YouTube?
Exactly.
Hey, what's up there, mother truckers? Today we're gonna be doing some Copenhagen wintergreen. Can't wait.
Yeah, man.
You're competing with the outlaw.
I can't do dip anymore. It's too gross. But I can do. It depends. Every once in a while, every 3 months, I might put one in and from somebody, and I'll get tempted. But I like nicotine, and I've been trying to kind of stay away from tobacco because smoking it hurts my lungs, and chewing hurts my teeth. So I've been trying to avoid it. So one of the things I've always, I don't know, for the last few years, my buddy, every once in a while will get these Zen pouches, which are the tobacco free nicotine pouch. I don't know what's in it. It's a bunch of flavoring and cornstarch, and I don't know how they extract it, the nicotine from it, but you can get like a 3 milligram and a 6 milligram, and it's like vaping for chewers, for dippers. And
that's
so
about right.
Right.
I know what you're talking about. I bought a pack of it. It's actually pretty good. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so that's kind of like the most that I've been messing with. Every once in a while, I'll smoke tobacco with. I don't like to smoke cigarettes or by itself. I'll smoke it with weed or something.
Okay.
But I try to stay away. So I use these Zins sometimes. I like it. I like nicotine, and I like trying to. I like using them while I'm doing stuff. While I'm working out on the farm. It's nice just to have that buzz going, just to kind of keep going through some of the monotonous and repetitive tasks. Mm-hmm. But I like it. So I like that stuff. And I've read some things recently that nicotine's an interesting nootropic. It does give you an increased focus, I think, to me. And so I enjoy it when I'm doing work that's just kind of especially physical, hard, and even I even kind of like it when I'm writing, like if I'm writing an email for like marketing or something. I like that too.
Copywriting.
The
good copywriting.
Right, not the IP.
That's an unfortunate name to call it.
Right?
Why did they even call it copywriting?
I have no idea. What's sales copy? I don't get that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I like it for that stuff, and that's kind of where I'm at now. Is like I don't buy them, but every once in a while I'll get them from a friend, and I might keep they'll give me a couple, and I'll keep them in my pocket or something. I'll use them randomly, but I like them because they don't make me sick as long as I spit them out. I don't know, some people swallow even snus. I know people that swallow it, and it's that's intense for me. I get sick.
Wait, they swallow the packets?
No, that's just the spit.
Oh, okay. I've never had a problem with the snus.
Okay.
We should talk about what snus is. I think kind of bearing the lead a little bit.
Right.
Okay, so you were talking about the Zen things. You told me about those, and I was like, oh, I've seen those, and then I went to their online store to see where you can buy them, and you can buy them at almost every Terrible Herp station. 7-Eleven has them. Bunch of places have them. They're much more prevalent than Swedish snus is, which is what I've been using. And I went and checked it out, and I was like, yeah, let me get the coffee one. And they're like, okay, do you want the 3 or 6? I was like, I'm sorry, what? I was like, 3. and I was like, oh, they're milligrams. Well, I'll try 6 because I know the snus is about 4. There has about 4 grams of free nicotine, and I know that they're going to be advertising nicotine on their things. It's probably going to be free nicotine, which is free nicotine is the kind of nicotine that you're able to absorb through the mucous membranes of your mouth. Because I think Copenhagen has like 13 milligrams of nicotine per gram.
Wow.
But the free nicotine in there is only something like 2 or 3. So
I see.
that's why they usually have like big bulging things because it's more. They're using more than a gram.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. I was like, okay, I'll try the 6 because fuck it, why not? that almost knocked me on my ass the first time I used it. I was like, holy shit, yeah. So yeah. But that's actually made by a company called Swedish Match, which I thought was interesting when I went to their website. I was like, oh, Swedish Match. Okay, I'll try this. I'll see what it's all about. Swedish Match is kind of the, I don't know if industry standard is the right term, but it's the it's kind of like the Coca-Cola of snus, right? And there's no real Pepsi. Well, I guess like AG would probably be the Pepsi. AG tobacco. But Swedish Match is a company obviously based out of Sweden that produces General Snus, which is the standard for what snus should be. It is kind of what it was. They came with the early 1800s or so. I forget the guy who probably someone named Johan because that's what everybody in Sweden's name is, right? He developed a formula for snuff that could be placed orally, and he went around the world to try to find different types of tobacco to use in his thing, and the flavoring and the salt, and kind of made the formula. And that's what I've been using lately, is just because I wanted to get away from vaping because vaping is gay. And I was like, yeah, and it was getting too expensive, and I could buy a packet of snus and it'll last me almost a week for $5 versus every 2 weeks having to go and paying like anywhere from $30 to $50 depending on if I need to get coils for it as well. That got kind of expensive. So I was like, okay, I like nicotine for most of the reasons you say, that, and also helps me metabolize caffeine, and being ADD, having high doses of caffeine and being able to metabolize it better, that's really good. It's basically a form of self-medication. So I was like, okay, let's try the snus thing, and I fell in love with the taste. It tastes almost like an Earl Grey tea plus salt plus, and I've talked about this already with someone who hasn't tried it. Earl Grey tea plus black pepper and salt, table salt, and it's really good. I really enjoy it. But those Zen things, man, those things are interesting. But I think I like snus a little bit more.
Yeah.
So have you done the snus at all? Or?
I've done it a couple times. I've never had Swedish Match. I've had like Camel snus packets.
Oh, that don't count.
Yeah, and so I didn't enjoy those.
American quote unquote snus. It's not really snus.
Yeah, I believe it. It was really hard to get like the saliva wet in.
There he goes again. Rip in peace. I'm just gonna put Signal on this fucking thing. I think next time I do it, I'm using Signal. We'll see how the audio is on that thing. But yeah, try that one more time.
Okay.
Seemed to be better.
Well, yeah. So I've tried it, and I don't. It just was too. It was like stay dry, and I didn't like that. Compared to like chew, that's what I was into when I tried snus. It was just easier to get a buzz from it. But the Zins are definitely a different thing. Like it's not the same as tobacco. Tobacco seems to have a little bit more to it to me. Like Zin is a little bit more like it, you get the buzz, but it's not as complex, I guess. It's a different feeling, I guess. Like it's more of just kind of one piece of it.
Yeah, tobacco has probably more stuff going on in it too.
Right.
Kind of like when they try to take out the THC and then use it as like a prescription drug. It's not the same as just smoking weed because there's other things like CBD and blah blah blah. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy snus. It's a good alternative for people smoking. You can use it discreetly. You can swallow the spit. You said you had problems with it. I have not had any problems with it.
Nice.
I just throw it up in my upper lip and go about my day. No spitting, no gross stuff. No one even knows that I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have a conversation with them. It's up in my upper lip and my front. Like if I do a real big smile, they could probably see a little bit of it, but that's about it. It's really that discreet. I love the taste. They have different flavors. I don't know if you ever tried some of the other General Snus flavors, but they have original, which is the one that goes to an extra thing where they're a little bit more moist. You throw it in, they last about 30 minutes, and the flavor is a lot more stronger. Then they have like the white portions, which is all the other ones that they sell in America, which they have miniature mints, which are just smaller, lower dosage of nicotine. Then they have wintergreen, and then the white portions, which is like generally the same flavor as General Original, but since it's a white portion, it has less moisture in it. It lasts longer. It takes a while for it the flavor and everything to develop. That's pretty much the big difference between the two. And I think the oil of bergamot's a little bit more prevalent in the white portions, which I like oil of bergamot, Earl Grey tea. That's what's the difference between Earl Grey tea and black tea, is it just has oil of bergamot in it. Yeah. So yeah, I like the white portions or whatever, but I can see why someone probably would like wintergreen or something like that, or mint.
Sure.
So you probably should try those.
Yeah, I'll have to check those out. I'll try and get something better than Camel next time.
Yeah, stay away from Skull, Marlboro, Camel. Those they're trying to aim for an American market. They're using cheap tobacco. The nicotine content is intentionally meant to be low, because what they want you to do is to continue smoking or dipping, but they want you to be able to do it in a place where you're not able to smoke or dip. That's the idea. It's basically just like, oh, this will get you to your next smoke break kind of attitude, which I think that's a shitty way to get people to dual use.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. So try the general stuff. You have
Cool.
to find it out if you go to the general website. Again, not a sponsor. I would take their sponsorship though. I will say that. I don't think they will. They don't even sponsor Snus YouTubers or anything. But yeah, that's really good stuff. Try a couple of the different flavors, see what you like. Yeah. There you go.
Cool.
But the difference between this and like dip is, again, it goes in your upper lip versus your bottom lip. It's not coming in contact with your salivary glands, which make you salivate, and it's not fermented. It's steam cured is the right word. It's pasteurized, steam, boiled, whatever. So you're able to swallow the spit, and it's not going to upset your stomach. You just throw it in your upper lip, go about your day, until 30 minutes for regular or for original portions. White portions will last you about a good hour. It tastes good, in my opinion. Gives you a buzz. And if you don't like that,
Try it. I'll turn on and see.
Oh, try the Zins. What were you saying?
Get out and see, and just to check it out. Just there's Snus. I'd be interested.
Yeah. I think I know what you said. Let's just wrap this up then. Let's just wrap this up. Next time we'll try. We'll have to test the audio quality. I'm Lolberts. If you're listening to this, if you want to help me test out some other platforms, because apparently my computer and Discord in this room is not working out. It's just not. But the show wasn't bad. So yeah, anything you want to plug before we go, if you can?
Sure. Yeah. What am I doing? I'm not even doing my show. But Yakkin with Nick at Libs. You just have to look it up. I don't even know what it's just yakkin.libsyn.com. You can find the Yakkin with Nick on iTunes and stuff. And then if you're interested in learn more about the farm, hazeltonfarm.com. If you look up Nick Hazelton Philomath, that's hard to spell. If you look up Nick Hazelton Yaks, you'll find everything.
Yeah. And what's great about Nick is, unlike let's just say for the sake of argument, some tech podcaster. I guess that's a good random thing to say. He actually has good taste in music. I will say that. I don't think you ever talk about it, but I know that you do. You know, you wouldn't listen to things like, I don't know, Winger. But anyways, it's been a while since I did a dig on Brian Sovereign. I think it's well overdue. We love you, Brian. Anyways, so yeah, a couple things, just a couple things, and then I'll wrap this up. Got a new YouTube channel, Jim Jesus 2 Electric Boogaloo. Doing a new live stream / podcast. It'll be a podcast soon. It's not a podcast yet, called Recording in Progress. The letter N, progress, like recording and progress, which is not libertarian. It's kind of liberty minded, but we don't talk politics too much at all. Mostly about entertainment stuff that's going around in comics, which I don't read comics, but I love reading comics vicariously. Comics, movies, music, that's culture things. Anything else? Oh yeah, shop.lolberts.com. You got some new t-shirts at the store.lolberts.com. I have a couple of Kokesh related shirts that just put out because things that been going on with him, which we talked about in the previous episode. I think that's it. I think we'll wrap it up there. All right, thanks for coming on, Nick.
Absolutely.
It's great having you on, and next time, hopefully the audio will be, or the connection will be better. The audio was fine.
Yes.
Yep, so. Shem Hem Farash, Hail Satan. Still not going to say anything.